Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Hari ini saya akan sambung kuliah untuk topik Consolidated Statement of Cash Flow. Untuk itu saya akan share slide saya dahulu. Okey, untuk topik Consolidated Statement of Cash Flow ni pelajar dikendaki ataupun pada akhir topik ini pelajar sepatutnya boleh explain berkaitan dengan the cash flow reporting untuk consolidated purposes, and then able to identify the requirements of statutes and accounting standards that related to the statement of cash flow, including the related transaction for the group, dan finally to prepare and present the group statement of cash flow. Okay, why must we prepare statement of cash flow? First is to provide information about an entity's cash receipts and cash payment during a period. And secondly, to provide information about its operating, investing and financing activities and entity during a period. So a statement of cash flow provides answers for the following questions. First, where did the cash come from during the period? Second, what was the cash used for during the period? What was the change in the cash balance during the period? And as for the introduction, by answering the questions just now, company will get some benefit, such as it enables users to evaluate the changes in net assets of company. It assessing the ability of company to generate cash and cash equivalent, and it enhances the comparability of the reporting of operating performance by different company. So the statement of cash flow is usually prepared using cash and cash equivalents as its basis. So cash equivalents are short-term, highly liquid investments that are both readily convertible to known amounts of cash and so near to their maturity that their market value is relatively insensitive to changes in interest rates. And as example for the example for cash equivalents is the marketable securities. So statement of cash flow, we will be preparing the statement of cash flow using the same MFRS 107, which is statement of cash flow as a guideline. Anda semua telah pun belajar bagaimana untuk prepare statement of cash flow. Jadi kalau tak salah saya, anda telah belajar semasa Financial Accounting Reporting 2. Jadi asasnya di sana. Cuma dalam console statement of cash flow ini, apa yang saya akan buat adalah kita hanya akan proceed kepada item-item yang berkenaan dengan group financial statement, group item-item yang berkenaan dengan group sahaja. Jadi saya tak akan ajar bagaimana untuk anda prepare statement of cash flow di bawah MFRS 107 ini sebab anda telah pun belajar. So saya hanya akan introduce the new things that you should allocate dalam statement of cash flow. The console statement of cash flow. Okay, so the process to prepare this statement is similar for an individual company. So masa anda belajar sebelum ni adalah berkaitan dengan individual companies. You prepare the cash flow for individual companies. So now let's look at preparing the cash flow for group purposes. So therefore, bila dia similar dengan the individual companies, meaning that the console cash flow should report cash flows during the period classified by operating, investing and financing activities. Okay, so kalau anda belajar sebelum ni untuk prepare cash flow ada 3 section. Okay, maka untuk console cash flow juga sama. Cuma item akan ada tambahan item di bawah ketiga-tiga section ini. Okay, operating activities seperti yang anda tahu, it include cash, effects of transaction that create revenues and expenses, the key indicator internally generated cash flow from operations. So it include into the determination of the net income. So bermakna operating activities ini dia deals with the net income. So examples are as given kat sini, cash receipts from sales of goods, cash receipts from royalties, fees, commissions and others, cash payments to suppliers and to the on behalf of the employee, and cash receipts and payments of insurance for premiums and claims and other policy benefits. So interest element may be classified as an operating activity in this case. So there are two methods of to prepare the cash flow for operating activities. Okay, one is called direct method. Okay, so for direct method, the major classes of gross receipts and gross payments, and this is preferred by MFRS 107. The second method is indirect method. Profit or loss before tax in income statement is adjusted with the non-cash nature and also the changes in stock, debtors and creditors. And then it focuses on the differences between net income and net cash flow from operating activities. And the second segment is investing activities. Cash flows represents the extent to which expenditures, the long-term assets, have been made for resources intended to generate future income and cash flow. So the examples of the investing activities are like cash payment to acquire and dispose property, plant equipment, intangibles and long-term assets, cash receipts from sales of PPE and long-term assets, and cash payments to acquire and dispose equity or debt instruments of other enterprises and interest in JV. And the third activity, the final activity, is financing activities. This is the third section in the statement of cash flow. Predicting claims on future cash flows by providers of capital to enterprise. Meaning here is changes in the size and composition of the equity capital and borrowings of the enterprise. And the financing activities also involves long-term liability and equity in balance sheets. So the examples are cash proceeds from issuing shares, cash payments to owners to buy back or redeem the shares, cash proceeds from issuing debentures, loans, notes, bonds, and other short or long-term borrowing, and finally the cash repayment of amount borrowed. Okay, as for investing activities and financing activities, the major classes of gross cash receipts and gross cash payments arising from investing and financing activities such as investment in subsidiaries, associates and joint ventures, acquisitions and disposal of subsidiaries and other business units, the aggregate cash flows arising from acquisition and from disposal of subsidiaries or other business units should be presented separately and classified as investing activities. So in order to prepare the consolidated cash flow, the items from consolidated balance sheet and consolidated income statement need to be used. Not to consolidate statement of cash flows by individual companies. However, if there is no other way, then the group's internal cash transactions must be eliminated to avoid double counting of cash. So actually when kita prepare the consolidated statement of cash flow, bermakna kita ambil daripada console financial statement yang telah pun di-prepare. Meaning that we pick up from the console balance sheet, the console statement of changes in equity and also the console statement of income ataupun console statement of profit or loss. So bermakna company akan prepare this consolidated financial statement dahulu, then only dia akan prepare the consolidated statement of cash flow. So kita tak ambil daripada the individual statement ataupun the individual statement of cash flow untuk kita prepare the consolidated statement of cash flow. Kita ambil daripada consolidated financial statement, iaitu from consolidated profit or loss, consolidated changes equity dan juga consolidated financial position. I hope you can understand that. Bear in mind that is the way to do the consolidation for cash flow. Okay, consolidated statement of cash flow and statement of cash flow. What are the differences? So there are few extra items to be included in the consolidated statement of cash flow. Okay, the difference here. One is non-controlling interest. Before this tak ada non-controlling interest dalam individual ataupun dalam single financial statement of the company. Okay. Secondly, investment in associates, right? Third is acquisition of subsidiaries, and finally is the disposal of subsidiaries. So bermakna 4 item ini adalah perkara baru yang sebelum ini tidak dijumpai dalam statement of cash flow single entity. Okay. Dan fokus kita adalah kepada 4 komponen ini untuk dimasukkan di bawah consolidated statement of cash flow. Okay, let's look at the first one, which is NCI. Okay, so NCI account balance will only change due to NCI in the current year's profit of a subsidiary. And then secondly is the dividends paid by a subsidiary to the minority shareholders. So NCI akan berubah sekiranya ada 2 perkara ini. Okay, iaitu agihan profit for the year dan juga dividend paid, okay, by the subsidiary. And then however, only transaction which affects the cash flow of the group will be included in the consolidated statement of cash flow. Okay, so hanya those yang affect the cash flow of the group sahaja yang akan diambil kira untuk consolidated statement of cash flow. Okay, untuk transaction A, the proportion of current year's profit in the subsidiary company will have no effect in the consolidated cash flow because it has nothing to do with cash or cash equivalent. So the first item tu agihan profit kepada NCI yang bukannya melibatkan cash flow, maka dia tak ada efek ke atas consolidated cash flow. And for item B, the dividend paid, it will result in outflow of cash. Then it will be included in the consolidated cash flow. So to understand that, let's look at example 8.1. Let me search for the book. Okay. Alright, this is illustration 8.1. Okay. Okay, to illustrate the presentation of the effects of NCI in the consolidated statement of cash flow, assume that P holds 60% of S, 60% of S Berhad, and the consolidated statement of comprehensive income, the partial consolidated statement of changes in equity, and the subsidiaries statement of comprehensive income and partial statement of changes in equity for the year ended 31st December X8 was given below. Okay, dia bagi yang console and non-console. Alright, so these are the statement. Okay, in the consolidated balance sheet, non-controlling interest account balance will increase by 20,000, which is 40% of the 50,000 increase in subsidiaries net asset, or 40% of the subsidiaries after tax profit of 60,000 less the 40% of the subsidiaries dividend, okay, of 10%. Okay, jadi kat sini dia ada profit 40,000. So dia apa, NCI 40%. So pertambahan dia adalah it will be on the profit after tax ni 40%. Okay. Okay, and in the console financial statement, okay, profit for the year kat sini 60, right? So dia akan based on apa, dia akan increase based on the 40% of the 60,000. Okay. Alright. So the cash flow from operating activities, okay, will be okay, this 4%. Okay, kat sini kata the NCI in balance sheet okay, it will be 40% of 50,000. Okay, so the 50k is this. Right. Okay. This is a net asset. So this comes from 40% of the 60k okay, profit and 40% of the dividend. This is the dividend paid. Okay. So therefore tadi dalam slide dia kata okay, yang akan terlibat hanyalah the dividend. Okay, sebab dividend sahaja yang ada outflow of cash. Remember cash flow dia kita refer kepada inflow and outflow. So therefore, okay, when you prepare the console cash flow, you akan start dengan profit after tax. This is the indirect interest method. And then you akan tolak the dividend paid, okay, of 4%. So dividend paid ni adalah 40% daripada dividend 10k. Okay. Alright. So untuk dividend ini, you can see here, dia ada dua cara you boleh masukkan the dividend paid to NCI. Okay. Sama ada you masuk di bawah operating activities atau you masuk di bawah financing activities. Okay, tak kira sama ada you masuk di bawah operating activities atau financing activities, kedua-duanya adalah outflow. Remember, if outflow, you akan tunjuk dalam bentuk kurungan. Okay, right. So, remember, untuk dividend paid to NCI, you have the choice sama ada you nak masuk di bawah operating activities as outflow atau you masuk di bawah financing activities pun okay, tetapi still as outflow juga. Okay. So next, we move to the second item, which is investment in associates. Okay, the investment in associate account balance will only change due to, firstly, group share of the current year's associated profit, and secondly is through the dividends received from the associated company. Okay. Okay. Alright. So, however, only transaction which affects the cash flow sahaja akan kita masukkan di bawah console cash flow. Sama juga seperti NCI tadi. So, between these two, yang mana yang melibatkan cash flow? Yang melibatkan cash flow is only the dividend. So, transaction B, it will result in inflow of cash. Okay, so then it will be included in console statement of cash flow. Okay, kalau tadi melibatkan outflow. Dividend tadi adalah outflow, tetapi associate dia melibatkan inflow. So how should we record this? Ataupun how should we disclose this di bawah console cash flow? Okay. Example 8.2. Okay. Dalam example 8.2, P Berhad hold 60% of S and 20% dalam A. So bermakna A ni adalah associate company. Okay. So di bawah adalah the console statement of financial statement console financial statement dan juga individual financial statement. Okay. Dan dekat sini okay, dia dapat share of profit. Okay, share of profit adalah 12. So share of profit ni tidak melibatkan inflow atau outflow of share. Inflow ataupun outflow of cash. Okay, tapi dividend okay, ada So in consolidated balance sheet, the investment in associates account balance will increase 10,000. Dia kata investment in associate account balance akan increase 10,000, iaitu 20% of the 50,000 increase in the associates net asset. Okay, ataupun dia kata or 20% of associate profit, which is 60,000 less 20% of associates dividend. Okay, dekat sini ada dividend. 10,000. Okay, 10,000. Alright. Okay, profit after tax dia adalah 60. Okay. So, kat sini yang akan diambil kira hanyalah the dividend. So, dividend adalah 20% times 10K, which is 2K. Dan ini adalah dividends received. Okay. Kenapa 20%? Sebab ownership dia 20%. So therefore dalam console financial statement, console cash flow. Okay, kita tengok kat sini. Share of associates profit kita kena adjust sebab dia adalah non-cash item. Okay, dia non-cash item kita kena adjust, which is 12,000. Okay, 12K. And then the dividends received will be the inflow. Okay, macam mana dapat 12? 12K ni adalah from here 20% daripada 60K. Okay, right. So kena adjust balik this 12K because of dia adalah non-cash item. Okay. And dividend dia adalah inflow. Okay, yang ni outflow, kita tolak. Okay, so untuk share of associate profit kita akan masuk di bawah operating activities. Tapi untuk dividend, Untuk dividen you ada choice, you can either put di bawah operating activities atau dividen sama juga macam NCI tadi. Untuk dividen you have the choice to letak di bawah and investing activities. Kalau NCI tadi choice-nya adalah financing activities atau operating. Tetapi untuk dividend associates dia di bawah sama ada operating ataupun investing. Okay, dan ianya merupakan inflow. So inflow kita tak bracketkan, dia campur. Okay. Alright, let's look at the next item, acquisition of subsidiary. So when a company acquires other company, automatically the group's total assets and total liabilities will increase, but the group's cash will decrease. Okay. When company acquires, acquire other company, bila kita beli, acquire means beli other company, so total asset and total liability akan increase. Sebab kita beli asset dan liability tu masuk, the net asset tu masuk. Tapi cash kita akan decrease because you have to pay to the company yang you beli, the subsidiary company. So MFRS 107, paragraph 39, dia kata the aggregate cash flow arising from acquisition of subsidiary companies should be presented separately. Okay. So cash flow from acquisition of subsidiary should be presented separately. Maknanya dia kena ada satu item sendiri and classified as cash flow from investing activities. Okay. And under paragraph 42, aggregated amount of cash paid, aggregated amount of cash paid to acquire the subsidiary company should be reported in statement of cash flow as net of cash and cash equivalent acquired. So bermakna kita tak masuk dalam mana-mana item atau section yang tiga itu, tetapi dia akan dilaporkan di bawah net of cash and cash equivalent acquired. Okay. So MFRS 107 requires additional relevant information to be presented in detail. Pertama adalah total purchase consideration, the portion of purchase consideration discharged by means of cash and cash equivalent, the amount of cash and cash equivalent in the subsidiary acquired, and the amount of other assets and liabilities in the subsidiary acquired and summarized by major categories. So the aim for this presentation is to distinguish the cash flow arising from the acquisition of the subsidiary from the cash flow from other activities. Okay, so example dia kita lihat example 8.3. Okay, acquisition of subsidiary. Alright, P acquired a subsidiary of S. Okay, P acquired S. Alright, and di sini adalah the assets and liabilities and also the equity of S Berhad. Okay, this is the S balance sheet. Okay, alright, semasa acquisition. So P acquired 80% interest and the cash consideration, meaning the cash paid adalah 100k. So kalau kita tengok kat sini, okay, dia bayar 100,000, kemudian cash yang ada dalam S adalah sebanyak 10k. Jadi dia punya difference tu ataupun nilai cash yang bersih, nilai cash bersih adalah 90. Okay, so nilai bersih dia adalah 90k. Okay, so ini adalah outflow. ini adalah inflow. Okay. Jadi kita boleh tunjuk dalam bentuk macam ni ya. Di bawah investing activities, sebab you acquire subsidiary, maka dia diletakkan di bawah investing. You invest in a subsidiary. So acquisition of subsidiary you boleh tulis sebagai 90 negatif. Okay. Right. Ataupun kita boleh pecahkan amount ini kepada 100 dan 10. 100 outflow dan 10 inflow. Okay, you can do that. But the important thing is dia akan masuk di bawah investing activities. Okay. Okay. Next, we move to disposal of subsidiary. Okay. So disposal of subsidiary is when company dispose its subsidiary company, automatically the group's total asset, okay, bila dispose, group's total asset and total liability will decrease lah. Sebab asset dan liability subsidiary tu keluar daripada group. Tetapi cash will increase sebab bila you jual, you dapat duit. Okay. So under paragraph 39, the aggregate cash flow arising from the disposal. So cash flow from disposal of the subsidiary should be presented separately and classified as investing activities. And under paragraph 42, aggregate amount of cash received okay, cash received from sale of the consideration should be reported in the consolidated statement of cash flow as net cash and cash equivalent disposed of. Okay, right. So MFRS 107 requires additional relevant information to be presented in detail. Firstly is the total disposal price. Second is the portion of disposal price received in cash and cash equivalent. Thirdly, the amount of cash and cash equivalent in the subsidiary disposed of. And finally, the amount of other assets and liabilities in the subsidiary disposed of, and summarized by the major categories. So the aim of this presentation is to distinguish the cash flow arising from the disposal of the subsidiary from the cash flow of other activities. Okay, so to that kita akan lihat example 8.4. Okay, disposal of subsidiary. So this is the case. Alright. P. Berhad disposed one of its subsidiary, iaitu S. Berhad. Cash consideration yang diterima adalah 100,000 dan ini adalah S. Berhad's balance sheet. Okay, ada share capital ataupun ada equity, liability dan juga asset. Dan kita tengok kat sini, cash yang ada dalam S. Berhad adalah sebanyak 10K. Okay, right. Dan P. Berhad acquired 80% interest in S dan investment dia sebelum ni adalah sebanyak 80,000. Okay. So when disposal tadi MFRS 107 kata kita masukkan di bawah investing activities. So disposal of subsidiary akan masuk di bawah investing activities. Dan sini because 100,000 ini adalah inflow sebab kita jual dan ini adalah outflow. Sebab keluar kita jual, kita dapat duit, inflow, kita jual, duit dalam company tu keluar, dalam S. Berhad keluar, okay, maka ianya adalah outflow dan again kita boleh letak sebagai net figure kat sini dan kali ni ianya adalah positif. Kalau tak nak letak net figure pun boleh, you boleh letak secara berasingan, you boleh letak sebagai inflow of 10K and outflow of 10. Okay. Inflow of 100k, outflow of 10. Tapi kalau kita lihat pada slide tadi, dia kata apa ni, yang inflow tu, yang outflow tu kita biarkan sebagai net of cash and cash equivalent. So because of that, kita hanya masukkan the net value of the cash. Okay, net figure. Alright. Okay, so these are the 4 items yang kita bincangkan tadi, right? Kita dah settle membincangkan on the 4 items yang ada di bawah console financial statement, yang mana sebelum ni tidak ada di bawah 4 items ini yang ada di bawah console statement of cash flow, yang mana ianya tidak ada di dalam statement of cash flow yang telah ataupun yang pernah anda sediakan untuk single entity. Okay. Okay, persoalan yang seterusnya adalah, okay, kita dah tahu 4 item itu yang yang perlu ditambah ataupun yang membezakan dengan cash flow sebelum ini. 4 item ini yang perlu ditambah di bawah group cash flow. Seterusnya kita nak tengok, okay, apakah method yang ada, macam mana kita nak console. Persoalannya macam mana kita nak console the cash flow. Apakah method ataupun kaedah yang ada. Okay, so based on method dia mengikut buku tax and Juan, dia telah pecahkan kepada 2 method, 2 kaedah. Satu kaedah adalah menggunakan worksheet dan satu kaedah lagi adalah menggunakan T-account. Okay, sama ada menggunakan worksheet ataupun T-account. Okay, so kita tak akan belajar menggunakan worksheet, tapi kita akan hanya belajar menggunakan T-account. Kenapa? Sebab semasa anda belajar sebelum ini, Fatu, anda tidak menggunakan worksheet. Jadi saya tak nak tunjuk benda baru untuk penyediaan cash flow ini. So saya nak teruskan dengan knowledge yang anda ada. So saya harap sebelum ini anda menggunakan T-account. Kalau anda tak menggunakan T-account, maka untuk topik ini anda kena belajar menggunakan T-account, sebab sekiranya menggunakan T-account ianya adalah lebih mudah. Okay. Okay. Untuk itu kita tengok contoh yang ada dalam textbook. Okay. So ini adalah contoh yang ada dalam textbook. Oh, sebelum itu saya tertinggal. Alright, dia ada 2 kaedah untuk menyediakan worksheet ni, 2 kaedah untuk menyediakan cash flow ini. Tetapi di bawah cash flow itu itself, di bawah cash flow itu itself ada 2 kaedah. Iaitu pertama kita kata indirect method, satu lagi adalah direct method. Okay, jadi saya boleh ringkaskan gini ya. Console statement of cash flow. Okay, anda nak sediakan okay, kita kata method untuk console statement of cash flow tu ada 2. Kita ada indirect dan direct method. So ini anda dah belajar. So indirect dengan direct method ini perbezaan dia adalah pada operating activities. Okay. Dan untuk sediakan cash flow di bawah kedua-dua kaedah ini ataupun kedua-dua method ini, anda boleh guna, you can use one worksheet atau dua worksheet teknik. Saya bezakan dengan perkataan teknik ya. Kedua adalah T account. Okay. So yang saya nak tunjukkan adalah T account menggunakan kedua-dua method indirect dan direct. Tapi saya rasa lebih senang untuk kita menggunakan indirect method. Okay, sebab indirect method ya, saya harap anda masih ingat format format di bawah direct dan indirect method. Ingat lagi format dia? Okay, macam mana format di bawah direct dan indirect method? Okay, let me show you. Tetap saya. Okay, let's see here. Format indirect method. Saya lebih suka format indirect method ya. Untuk format indirect method, kita akan mula dengan profit before tax. So direct dan indirect method yang bezanya adalah di bahagian operating activities. So kalau indirect method kita akan mula dengan profit before tax. So kita akan campur balik non-cash item dan kita akan tolak the working capital dan juga tax. Okay. Dan kita ada investing activities dan financing activities macam biasa. Kemudian anda akan jumlahkan ketiga-tiga aktivitis ini, anda akan dapat satu figure yang kita panggil net increase atau decrease in the cash and cash equivalent. And then kita campur dengan baki cash flow last year ataupun baki cash and cash equivalent awal tahun atau hujung tahun lepas, dan kita dapat cash dan cash equivalent baki tahun ini. Dan untuk pengetahuan anda, okay, cash dan cash equivalent akhir tahun ini mesti sama dengan nilai yang ditunjukkan dalam consolidated statement of financial position. Okay, dia mesti sama. Kalau tak sama, then silap lah ya. Okay, untuk direct method, di bahagian operating activities hanya ada 3 item sahaja, iaitu cash receipts didalamkan sekali, cash paid, dan yang akhirnya adalah payment of tax. So saya lebih suka menggunakan indirect method sebab lebih mudah untuk anda sediakan, sebab anda nampak apa item yang perlu dicampur balik dan apa item yang perlu ditolak dan sebagainya. Okay, dia lebih jelas. Okay. So tak kira sama ada anda menggunakan indirect atau direct method, untuk investing activities dan financing activities adalah sama. Okay, sama. So kat sini saya nak highlightkan item yang ada di dalam consolidated statement of cash flow yang tidak ada dalam statement of cash flow sebelum ini, iaitu ini ya. Share of profit of associates, di mana you campur balik di bawah operating activities ya. Kemudian disposal of subsidiary di bawah investing activities. Acquisition of subsidiary. And then dividend from associate, and then payment of dividend to NCI. Okay, so ini adalah item-item yang baru diperkenalkan kepada anda yang ada di dalam konsol Statement of Financial Position. Okay, right. So untuk penyediaan konsol Statement of Cash Flow ini ya, anda boleh lihat contoh yang diberikan di dalam buku ni ya. Macam mana dia guna the T account approach. Okay. Untuk kita tengok the indirect method, anda lihat method C ni ya, ataupun number C ni, teknik C. Right. So you can go ahead on your own. Tengok macam mana dia buat. Okay. Dan anda cuba fahamkan macam mana dia dapat jawapan sebagaimana yang ditunjukkan dalam konsol cash flow yang ini. Ini adalah jawapan akhir dia. Okay, right. Okay, dan untuk latihan anda boleh teruskan dengan kelas exercise 8 yang ada dalam e-pembelajaran. Okay, untuk itu saya tamatkan lecture ini, chapter 8 on console statement of cash flow. Thank you and see you guys later.